All right, we'll start with the peace chant. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the all-pervading spirit protect us. May the all-pervading spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be illuminating. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. So, Katha Upanishad, the class is going stop and go, stop and go. 1 week we are having, next week we are again missing. So, momentum is kind of losing the momentum. But what can we do? So, here we go again. Last time the last verse that we studied was, if you remember, it was Eshu sarveshu bhuteshu gudatmana prakashate vishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshi. This spiritual reality called Atma is present everywhere, in everyone, but uh, it cannot be seen. It can be realized only by people who have a subtle intellect, and which is sharp and subtle intellect. And there we discussed that subtle intellect to realize Atma does not mean high IQ or being very smart. Subtle intellect means having a power of attention, power of focus, a mind which has been sharpened through spiritual practices. That was that is the meaning of a subtle mind. Subtle mind. Now, how to have a subtle mind? The next verse speaks about how to have a subtle mind. So, next verse is a guide map of the process of making our mind subtle. And as you will see, it is talking about meditation at deeper and deeper levels. Progressive stages of meditation is what the next verse says. The idea is, if we can follow these, our mind becomes subtle and we can realize that spiritual reality called Atma, which is our innermost self. So next verse is what we are going to study. Here is the verse. Yacchet bak manasī prājñas tat yacchet jñāna ātmani jñānam ātmani mahati yacchet tat yacchet śānta ātmani. The wise person withdraws outward activity into the mind into clear understanding, the understanding into deeper awareness, and finally rests everything in the peaceful self. Śānta ātmani is a wonderful expression. Atma, which is peaceful self. That is the goal of this meditation. So what does it mean? What are the steps involved here? Okay. So it is progressive, as we said, one by one. So this verse is a map of from moving. This is a map for moving from noise to clarity to stillness, gradually letting each layer of our personality settle into something deeper. So there are 4 steps involved if you look at the verse. First step is withdraw speech into mind. Vak, manasī, yacchet. Now speech here is representative of all the sense organs. Speech does not mean only the faculty of speaking, not speaking the words. It means withdrawing all our sense organs, withdrawing all our sense organs. So what it means is stop talking, stop texting, stop reacting outwardly, let everything move inside. So what it means, what it looks like, we sit down, we don't engage with the world for a moment, we close our eyes, preferably at a silent place so that our ears are not engaged with the outer world. And then we start, what happens? Then we start looking internal, inside our mind. And as we stop speaking, texting, or reacting, what happens is the thoughts then move from outside to inside. Is not it? We see them chatter inside. Okay. So this is the first step. Externally we stop, but internally all of these go on. There is chatter inside, then different images come to our mind. All of them are there. All of us know, all of us who have tried to meditate, we know just closing the eyes or closing the ears does not make our mind one-pointed or focused. Then the struggle becomes inside. So first step is stopping engagement with the outer world. So second step is what? Withdraw the mind into the intellect. Jñānam, ātmani. So this step is what? Thoughts will be coming, all sorts of thoughts, different things that happen, things of the past, things about future, all of them will be coming. And then our goal will be to observe them clearly. Observe. So, oh, this is an anxiety about future. Oh, that is a regret. Oh, this is my familiar, very old pattern of thinking. So just watching them and what we call leveling them. Leveling them. Instead of trying to resist the thoughts, instead of making the mind free of thoughts, the next step is make the intellect observe the thoughts and level them. Okay, this is the second step. So this is surely a shift from being inside the thought to understanding the thought. Otherwise, what happens is, as you have seen, a thought comes to our mind and we follow the thoughts along. Is not it? For example, I am meditating on, say, trying to meditate on Sri Krishna, right? And Sri Krishna's beard, I think of, face, the beard. As soon as I think of the beard, I think of, oh, I have to shave tomorrow, but I don't have my razor. So I have to go get to Walgreen to get a razor. And the thought of Walgreen also will put me what other things I have to get from Walgreen. And next thought will be, oh, next to Walgreen is Bel Air. I have to do some grocery shopping. So it is following the thoughts. It is what happens at the first step when we try to withdraw from the world, but we are carried away with the thoughts. And this is a constant struggle. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that every time mind goes out like this, bring it back. bring it back like a child. A child, if we try to put a baby or a toddler into a place, it will run away every time. So instead of getting angry about it, uh, try to gently pull it back and level the thoughts. So this is the second. So this is definitely one step ahead. Earlier we were following, chasing every thought. Now we are observing the thoughts and even leveling them. And what happens is, if we persist for some time, when thoughts about the world recede, we see that there are some particular patterns of our thoughts. Have you noticed that? There are some particular patterns that we always think of. As I said, I have a familiar pattern that I will share with others. You know, I will share with others. But that's also an ego. That's also an ego. Similarly, we find that when thoughts from the world are no more disturbing, then we are following some internal patterns. Some familiar patterns are there, ego patterns, they call it. And those thoughts are them. You know, some people like to intellectualize that is what is happening to me right now, how the mind is functioning. This is called intellectualization. But intellectualization is not meditation. It is intellectualization. That is also a pattern. That is also a trap. That is also a trap. So those become visible. If we persist on first watching the thoughts and leveling the thoughts, then we see that after some time, some familiar patterns are emerging. Familiar patterns are emerging. Then what do we do? After some time, the third step, let the intellect settle into deeper self. That is, even intellect becomes quiet. Otherwise, otherwise, what was happening? We were thinking about the thinking, right? We were thinking about the thoughts. Now, gradually, even that will subside, gradually. Okay. Even that is called jñānam mahati. The analysis also will slow down. And we also stop interpreting the thought patterns. Gradually, it becomes a quiet understanding. Now we are no longer leveling. We are no longer trying to fix any thought pattern. We are not trying to solve our thought patterns. We are a quiet understanding. That is the third step, jñānam mahati. Okay. And that is also not the final one. Final version, rest in peaceful self, śānta ātmani. That is, now there is no commentary, no effort, no effort to change any thought pattern, because everything has become very, very quiet. This is peaceful self. That is, we may say, awareness at rest. Awareness at rest. A sense of, you may say, open awareness. Awareness is self-present. Open awareness, there are not much to look. Only the awareness is settling into awareness. And that is called śānta ātmani, peaceful self. And here, the effort is gone. Earlier, we are trying to meditate, trying to control our mind, trying to focus our attention. But here, all of them have subsided. So it's a wonderful, real relaxation. That's why it is called śānta ātmani, peaceful self. One thing, Atma is present in every stage, right? Atma is the real driver of every stage. But when we gradually go from layer to layer, deeper and deeper layer, we come to a place where the awareness is open and we are really, really relaxed, real peace. It would not be out of place to quote the studies on Buddhist monks that recently they did in Harvard and Brown University, that all of them, these were, veterans of meditations. They have been meditating for years, and they found that all of these lamas, Buddhist lamas, can reach a state where their brain activity is unlike any of us, and unlike any of their other states of meditation. It's they call it the alpha or something, waves, and it's a whole brain is connected, but at the same time, it is in deep state of peace. And what they did this time, what extra they did is, this is an objective thing, brain waves, right? It is being seen in the computer. It is being seen in computer. Now, how about the first person experience? Because science does not believe in first person experience. It has to be third person. It has to be objective. Now they've found out that all of them, when their brain pattern was like this, after coming back to normal state, their description of that state was alike. That it is open awareness. They could say this much: it's the open awareness and a deep state of rest. Deep state of rest. That is rest, not sleep, but it's a lucid kind of awareness, a lucid state of existence. So this is what Upanishad is trying to say, that if we want to recognize the Atma in its purest form, our mind has to be subtle. And how to make our mind subtle is progressively withdrawing from outer to thoughts, from thoughts to intellect, from intellect to even deeper awareness. Okay, so first is stopping the outer sensation. Second is stopping the chatter or watching the chatter, name them. Third is even stopping that and just an understanding and full attention of what is happening in the mind without any commentary, without any personal commentary going on the thoughts, and finally, an open heart. Open. So Upanishad is giving one example of how to make the mind subtle. And by the process, it is also telling us the process of deeper and deeper level of meditation, right? And so this is a upasana. If we connect with Mundaka Upanishad, that if Om is the Pranabodhanu, Om is the bow, mind is the arrow, and Brahman, that all-pervading reality, is the goal, then how to hit the goal, how the mind with the help of Om can reach the goal. There the verse came, upasanišitam, a mind which has been sharpened by upasana. What is upasana again in Upanishad, in Vedanta? Upasana is nothing, training of our attention. Attention, how long we can hold our attention to one particular idea, particular thought, and gradually let even the thought go. Even the thought go. So it is nothing short of samadhi. If you bring Patanjali Yoga here, that up to meditation, in Patanjali Yoga, up to meditation is under our effort. But when it is samadhi, then it is effortless. And we have no control over it. Only the awareness itself remains. Awareness itself remains. So how beautiful it is, Shanti ātmani. Any comment, question on this verse? Easily understood, right?
Oh, let's
Rick.
see.
Yes, Rick, go ahead.
So you mentioned, you said earlier the first person experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, could you call that the I am?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah. Now,
Sure.
is the I am the actual awareness?
Yes. Open awareness.
Open
Cle-
awareness.
Clear, open awareness.
So, in the Christian book it says, at one point it says the words, I am that I am.
Yes.
So that experience, so now when we experience hot and cold, it's
Hmm.
an experience, okay? When we're
Yes.
tired, when we got energy. Is the I am that I am an experience in that vein? Or other,
That
I've been
that
thinking lately about the experience of experience.
hmm.
Is the I am that I am beyond even the nature of experience?
Well, it's a very semantic thing. It can get intellectual. Okay. If you remember, here subject and object things vanish. All of our other experiences involve a subject and an object. But here, what happens is only the subject remains. Only the subject remains. But definitely it's an experience. It is difficult to express through words, definitely, what it was like, but it is definitely an experience. But again, in Vedanta, there are a lot of schools or even differences of opinion about, is this an experience or can we call it an experience? But we would say that, of course, we have gone through something and came out as a different someone with clearer understanding. That means it is an experience. Sure, sure. Subhash.
Yes, Maharaj. Pranams.
Yeah.
Where does japa help in this? Because they say japa and meditation, right? So
Mhm. Yeah,
japa is that trying to quieten the mind and trying to lead
yeah.
it inwards?
Japa is a help for that.
And then japa has to stop when you go to meditation.
Sure. Ultimately, japa was a symbol or means.
And Maharaj, they say japa siddhi, so japa itself is enough that to lead you. So how does that work?
Well, there are different paradigms. You cannot mix all paradigms together. Okay.
Okay.
So japa siddhi means success from japa itself. It's a way of the bhaktas.
Okay.
So yeah. So we cannot, compare all of it all together. But if you remember, the goal of japa is not end in japa. Japa should lead us to, this kind of non-dual awareness, according to our tradition, our practice.
Okay.
Vaishnavas will speak about japa as the end in itself, end
Okay.
in itself, or vision of Krishna, vision of Vasudeva. That is the goal of japa.
Okay.
But in our spiritual tradition, in our order of tradition, japa is a means to ultimate the non-dual experience of non-dual reality.
So japa stops by itself, Maharaj, when you reach that stage?
Of course, if japa is done in that level of awareness or attention, japa will culminate into meditation, and meditation will culminate into non-dual awareness.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Maharaj.
Sure. Yes, Betty.
Can labeling become a trap?
Labeling can become a trap. That's why we have to go beyond labeling. Yeah.
You
And
can
that
get
was-
stuck there,
We can get stuck there
Stuck there.
endlessly. Endlessly. Yes.
like people who spend years in psychoanalysis, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That's a fascination. And that can become a fascination to, to understand every thought pattern and getting
Okay.
stuck there. That's why it says after that, mahati ātmani. First was jñānam ātmani, then mahati ātmani. So jñānam ātmani means intellect, and mahati ātmani means going beyond the intellect, even going beyond leveling, going beyond analyzing.
And theoretically, you could even skip that step of labeling and the thoughts will be going away.
Yeah,
But it's probably useful to understand patterns.
yeah, yes,
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
yeah. It is. I think those who are very good in meditation for like lifetime practitioners, they can skip some steps because they
Yeah.
have attained their attention, trained their attention in such a way that they don't take much time to settle.
I know some Buddhist meditators assign a number to these
1,000 hours. Yeah,
number. It seems really weird to me, but I know that some people do that. They
yeah. The
know
starting.
these patterns and they assign a number to them. So they just say, oh, one's coming again.
Oh, acha, I see.
Two
That
is
way.
coming again.
Oh, they assign numbers to their thought
As a
pattern.
shorthand.
I see, I see.
Okay, thank
I
you.
did not know that. I thought you were mentioning about how many hours, thousands of hours.
No, they're so familiar with their own patterns that when the thought comes, they, as a shorthand device, they say, oh, that's
Number
1,
one.
2, or 3, or A, B,
Oh.
or C.
Oh, great. I have actually 4 patterns. Now I can use this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Or even probably color code it, right? Yellow, or the yellow one, the red one.
Yeah, that would be a good way. Thank you.
Yeah. Arundhati?
Yes, Maharaj. Regarding this experience of samadhi, not that I have experienced it, but theoretically or intellectually, what I understand is when you're actually in samadhi, you don't have that experience. You recall it only after you come out, just like deep sleep, right?
Right, right. Samadhi means surely. Samadhi, yeah, absolutely. In samadhi, this is happening. As I said many times, the difference between dhyana and samadhi is in dhyana or meditation, we'll have still the awareness that I am meditating.
Mm-hmm.
Samadhi, that awareness will go, that I am meditating. So Patanjali says, tada vastrumatra bhasat. That is, what you are meditating on, depending upon your, whether you are meditating on an deity or not even any deity, vastrumatra. That is only the meditation.
Subject.
The object of meditation only remains. But here the object and subject are not two in a non-dual meditation. Here only the awareness remains. Awareness only itself. Okay. Awareness not of anything else, awareness just of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that when they come out of samadhi to the normal plane,
Yeah.
that's when you recall that experience.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. And here I have some observations like non-dual Vedantist cannot recall what happened. Okay. And that's why Upanishad is full of, you cannot say this is like this, arupam, asparsham, agandham. You cannot say anything about the experience. But the Buddhist experience meditations are not non-dual. They have an idea like compassion or something like that. So this is the difference between Buddhist meditation or non-dual meditation. So Buddhist usually those studies that I mentioned, they have an idea, so they can recall what the experience was. This is what I have understood. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now,
Swami.
yeah.
So that's very interesting what our friend just said, that you know it after you've experienced it, which that makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
I thought that, well, isn't it possible to experience that samadhi? We're going to call it that because we need to label it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to say you experience samadhi as a part or a source of relative experience.
Yeah.
In other words, if I am that, and then you add that I am. So now the I am is always there. It's ever present. It's eternal. It's infinite. We use those words. It never goes away. It never goes to sleep. So then all of the other experiences are just simply they're on top of it, so to speak. They're emerging from it. So
Yes.
if that's the case, then it's ever present. So isn't the ultimate having that experience while you live your normal life, while you take the dog for a walk, while you go and get the coffee? That experience underlying it must be there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That awareness will remain. Sure.
So what is that? Is that samadhi or is that something else?
No, the awareness of samadhi will inform our waking state. Okay. So we have seen it clearly. Now our life will be definitely different. Sure. Okay.
Maharaj, just a clarification.
Yeah.
Open awareness, is that awareness of itself without any object?
Yes. Open awareness means awareness not bound by anything. Okay. So it is not constricted. It is not focused on anything. It exists just by itself. Okay. Open awareness. Okay. So the thing is, I have not experienced it. So whatever I am telling is very intuitively. Okay. So there will be definitely not very too much of clarity. Too much of clarity.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So we move on to next verse. So, uttiṣṭhata jāgrata prāpya varān nibodhata kṣurasya dhārā niśitā duratyayā durgaṃ pathas kavayo vadanti. Arise, awaken, and approach the wise to understand this truth. The path is as sharp as a razor's edge, difficult to tread. So say the wise. So this verse was a favorite verse of Swami Vivekananda. He translated it little differently. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. He did it that way. And incidentally, based on this verse, Somerset Maugham, the famous novelist, wrote a book called Razor's Edge, which went on to become a movie, Hollywood movie, Razor's Edge, and it is based on this verse of Katha Upanishad. And how did he come to know about Katha Upanishad? He went to India, met Ramana Maharshi, and studied Katha Upanishad. And he was so fascinated with the idea that he wrote a novel, which was based on, of course, his own life. The characters are his acquaintances. He himself is there anyway. So that is how many people have heard the term, the razor's edge. So this verse also says, it is a wake-up call. So wake-up call from, not from bed. Upanishad is not telling wake up from bed. Jokingly, we used to say that arise, awake, and flip your side. Arise, awake, and flip your side. Not that way. So what is this call for? So arise from your slumber. Slumber, what is the slumber? The autopilot mode. The autopilot mode that we are living, the unexamined life that we are living, or we may say a spiritual blindness that many are living. Arise and awake from that. So the idea is to call for a great life, which is also adventurous. This life is like the Everest expedition of all the expeditions. Okay. So it is such a wake-up call Upanishad is placing before us. Wake up from your slumber, your unexamined life, autopilot life that you are living, and prāpya varān nibodhata. Go to the wise ones and get instructed or know about this path. Why it is necessary? First of all, what Upanishad is talking about, very subtle things, right? How the mind should be intellect into awareness into pure awareness. All of these very difficult to do for oneself. It is not it is difficult to as a DIY project. For DIY project also we need YouTube help. So here the goal is, path is far more subtle. So get a wise teacher, not a teacher like me, but really wise teacher, and get to know about it. As I like this example that Upanishads are like mirror, right? Which shows us what is our real nature. Upanishad is talking to us as a mirror, and the teachers, wise ones, teach us how to hold the mirror. How to hold the mirror. This is very important. So just a Upanishad itself can help us, but it can also may mislead us. The story comes in Chandogya Upanishad that both Indra and Virochana. Indra is a character, not the, Indra Indra and Virochana, they went to Prajapati to learn about the spiritual self, Atma. Prajapati took them, said, take some water at your palm and look at it. Both of them looked at the water, and Prajapati says, this is Atma. This is you who are. So they went back. Virochana understood that this body is Atma. There is nothing more. That's the reflection I saw. But Indra could not take it. That how come Atma, which is, I have heard, a reality, spiritual reality, how come only my body, my face can be my Atma? So he goes back again to Prajapati several times. So the idea is this, that many people make the mistake that only book can teach them everything about spiritual life. And there is a danger for that one can have a misconception about it. And why there is the need for the teacher? The verse says, kṣurasya dhārā. The spiritual path is like a razor's edge. Razor's edge and niśitā, which has been even sharpened. Does it mean that it is hard, harsh? No. Razor's edge means it is very subtle, and sometimes beyond our ordinary understanding. So the spiritual life is like a razor's edge. And duratyayā, it means very hard to tread on. Why hard to tread on? Not because of the path. The problem is not in the path. The problem is in us. That is our conditioned mind, our habits, our being distracted easily. This makes the path hard. Not the path itself is not hard. Our conditioning, our way of thinking, our impressions make the path hard. And so it requires a lot of groundwork and lot of mind work, not lot of work on our own mind. If you know, one of the great books of our life is Meditation and Spiritual Life, written by Swami Yotiswarananda. It's not written, actually. These are the classes he gave at intimate circles of devotees. So when I first read the book, soon after becoming a monk, it struck me. He said at the very beginning, most of our problems in spiritual life are psychological problems, are not spiritual problems. So a lot of inner work is needed to tread the spiritual path. Then that's why it becomes subtle and sharp and difficult to tread. For example, many people, when they hear you are that, they take it to be all of it. I am that spiritual reality. That is my ego, my body, my mind, my whatever I am is that breaths. I am that vastness. So what happens is spiritual ego may increase. Because the role of ego is to misappropriate anything which can show that I am something. So some people don't even get the point that I am that is not this ego I. I as a person, I as a this body, as this identity is not that identity. The I of I, that is you are that, or I am that, this I is not the I we are thinking about, we are talking about. This I is the pure awareness I. Okay. But many people may not get it. Many people think, oh, I am that. So why do I care for anything? Why do I care for anything? A few years ago, one psychologist, Paul Berry Kaufman from New York University. He interviewed many spiritual seekers and yoga enthusiasts in New York City. New York City. And he and his colleagues found many of them had totally different idea of what spirituality is. So many of them had the idea we are superior people because we are doing this meditation, spiritual practice, or yoga. That is, the spiritual practice, spiritual path went on to boost their ego, which should be the otherwise. Spiritual life should be actually making us egoless, making us one with others. But for many people, it becomes a source of pride that I read Upanishad, I do this much of chanting, I have attended those many classes, I understand everything. So it is just the opposite direction where we are going. Not understanding all of these becomes, because of this, the path is hard. It requires a great, good teacher who will show that where the mistakes we are making, where the mistakes we are making. And spiritual life, frankly speaking, spiritual progress is not an easy thing. It is not an easy thing. It's not a comfortable religion. Real progress requires real effort, real effort. So in that sense, it is difficult to trade. It is sharp, it is subtle. There can be a misconception, and we may think that we are already illumined. We are already illumined. So because of all of these, it is subtle, difficult to trade, and all of this progress in this path requires really, really tough, hard work, which starts with cleaning the mind, cleaning the mind, ego, and all of it. Because we have blind spots, we don't understand even what is hampering our spiritual path. What are the pitfalls in the path? So Upanishad says that it is difficult to tread, but it is challenging, true, but extremely rewarding. If we can make the effort, it is extremely challenging. Every effort is paid off. Every effort is paid off. As I said, it is like climbing the Everest. It is not the easy climb, but the more we can climb, the result we get. So be aware of easy spirituality. So, some days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I got an email. Get illumination in a day. So I clicked the website. So I'm not naming who from where it was. So it was shown in a YouTube video that illumination in a day or 3-day course. 3-day course will be illumined and all. So many people may fall for it because who would like to do hard work if it can be achieved easily? But Upanishad is telling no. This is a wonderful path and wonderful journey, but be alert. And warning at the very outset, it is a challenging path. It is not an easy one, like razor's edge, sharp edge. Okay, so with this we conclude, and now Upanishad will again go to speak about that reality, and it will speak about the reality in terms of nihilistic. It is ashabdam, arupam, asparsham. It cannot be touched. It cannot be heard. It does not have an image. And so this is all about our spiritual self. Nothing can be said about it. Anything we say are like the pointers to them. Okay, we shall see that in our next class. The again problem is next Friday is Buddha Purnima, Buddha's birthday. So we have a celebration in the evening. So I am not to be blamed for this, okay? It is not that I am traveling somewhere, it is, the day is like that. Buddha Purnima, it is on Friday, so we cannot meet next Friday, but we'll meet the Friday after that. Okay. Any question about this verse or any observation? Yeah, razor sharp. Yeah, this is carbon.
Maharaj.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of the Bhagavad Gita verse in 16th chapter, 3 gates to hell. So the opposite path is multi-lane highway. It's very easy.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ also says in Bible, Matthew, the path is straight, I found it. He says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. No, that is, he's speaking about the spiritual life, the religious life, that straight but narrow, sharp as Upanishad says, sharp as a razor. Mrs. Carmen, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yes. After many, many years, I decided to read Somerset Maugham's The Razor's Edge this week.
Oh, did
I just
you?
finished yesterday.
Oh.
And I said to Jack, I didn't know he had Ramakrishna and Vedanta in the novel. How could I forget? But what was very special tonight hearing you is when I was 14, I fell in love with the life of Sri Ramana Maharshi.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was his portrait in the novel I read this week. And I see that only someone who met him could have written that portrait. So I'm really grateful that you gave me that background, because I didn't realize that Somerset Maugham had gone there.
Yes, he met Ramana Maharshi, and the character and the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, both inspired him.
It's been 20 years since I read that novel, Swami, and I just picked it up this week. So
yeah, he wrote in 1944, I think.
Yeah.
Because after World War II, he was a World War II pilot, and he was disillusioned with the war, and so he took off, and along with his fiancée, they traveled to Europe and then to India and met Ramana Maharshi.
Oh, so I see this character that he creates in the novel, who he narrates about, is really himself, and he's made that himself into a different character.
Right.
But what I thought was very helpful at the end was how he reconciles living within the world with your spiritual path.
Right.
I thought that was very important. And I wanted to add something about the Buddhists, since I'm not a Buddhist, but I hang out with them.
Yeah.
There is a lot of very deep meditation in jhana states. There's actually quite a bit of discussion about getting to nirvana without the jhana states. Some people want them.
Yeah.
And then some people feel that your meditation can take you to nirvana without going through jhana states. So I think earlier when you were talking, I was thinking about something called metta meditation. And I know some people who have been struggling really hard with life and meditation, and in Buddhist circles that I know, they will say that that is what's really saving their sanity, is that they're just doing metta meditation, loving kindness towards the world, and then that takes them deeper. But I just wanted to point out that I'm experiencing from different people, there are different types of meditation goals among the Buddhists that I'm meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many types of meditation.
So, but their Theravādas are very, very close to us in non-dual meditation goal. I thought I would just share. And the Mahayana were more of our devotional. I know that I just sharing with group.
Yes, and interestingly, the 8 noble paths. Last is the before nirvana jñāna. Last one is the jñāna, and Buddha says 4 types of jñāna, 4 stages of jñāna. And if you read the 4 stages of jñāna, it absolutely parallel Patanjali's. Patanjali's dharana, dhyana, samadhi, and asapragata samadhi.
I will have to look at that again. I'll
Yes,
look at
you see,
Patanjali again.
because he does
Yeah.
the Buddha doesn't give name to these 4 stages of jhana, but if you
No.
read side by side Patanjali Yoga, they exactly the Buddha's description of 4 levels of jhana, that is dhyana, are exactly Patanjali's 4 levels of meditations. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Arundhati?
Yes, Maharaj, in the last verse,
Yeah.
uttiṣṭhata, jāgrata,
Hmm.
I always wondered why he says uttiṣṭhata first, because you have to be awake to
Yeah.
arise. Is
Yeah.
there a reason that it's used that way?
I don't think so. But thing is, uttiṣṭhata means you are lying down. First, first, get up from the bed. And after that, it takes a while to get really alert about, is not it? Means we get up from bed, but for a few moments, we remain like where I am, what I am, to really awake, it takes some time. So it may be first leave your bed, that is, leave the state, spiritual blindness or slumber that you are in, then be awakened. That is, awaken means there is a possibility. There is a possibility of this path. Okay. So first leave the bed, then take a while to understand that you are awake. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Swamiji, I was just
Yes.
thinking
Yeah.
the fact that this verse comes directly before the previous verse, which talks about, watching, your words and your actions and all of that. And so it seems to be a pattern that of intentional living, because the verse previously was, I understood it as live with intention, be very conscious about everything you're doing, because it is going to affect your ability to train your mind and to get to that subtle state. And so this next verse of arise awake is like, okay, continuing in that thought of living intentionally, of making the effort, the purushartha, your part of your life. Is that a proper interpretation?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say that. The earlier they said the path is, if you look at the flow of the verses, the verse that we read last class, that the Atma is present, but it requires subtlety to understand. How to get subtlety through these practices. And these practices are not easy. So you have to really get guidance from a teacher, and the path which requires subtlety is not easy. It is very sharp and subtle. Yeah. So it's a flow. There is a flow in it. Surely. Sure. Yeah. Any more comment?
Swami, I just wanted to wish everyone a wonderful retreat tomorrow at Shanti Ashrama. Very applicable.
Yes.
Shanti, yes. Wonderful retreat.
Thank you. Betty, you want to ask anything? Say in comment?
Yeah, yes, the difficulty of a teacher in the modern era, and maybe it was always true.
Right.
But maybe not, depending on the era. But I think, it's a quandary for Westerners, who like this Eastern philosophy and the
absolutely, absolutely. The main reason is, it has been laid out very nicely by this the author, James. Just a minute. Very good book, John Wellwood. Can you see it? Toward a Psychology of Awakening.
Oh, yes. And who's the author? John Wellwood.
John Wellwood. He was in San Francisco. He was a Buddhist practitioner as well as a psychotherapist. And he deals this problem very well, that Eastern spiritual leaders, teachers don't understand Western minds, Western culture. And so they have difficulty. They have difficulty because Eastern culture is mostly collectivist culture. There you don't have the problem of individuality. That individuality culture has a problem of the great burden on the individual to prove themselves as something special, something worthy, self-worthy. But in Eastern cultures, we don't have that pressure. We don't have to prove or that we are special. We have to belong to a group. Whatever group and community we are, we have to just blend into the group. That is our culture. So he says that all the Eastern teachers he has met for Buddhism studies, they don't understand this problem Westerners are having. So this book he wrote for this purpose only, mostly for Westerners, that how Westerners can be misled, not because of the teacher, but because of these cultural differences. Okay, yeah, very good book, very good book. Betty, you are absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Swami, what's the name of the book again, please?
Toward a Psychology of Awakening.
Okay, thank you.
I will recommend this book to everybody because he is the one who coined the term spiritual bypassing.
Okay.
Spiritual bypassing is a method. It's a trap many spiritual seekers fall into. Spiritual bypassing, that is not doing the real work and taking spirituality as a means of escaping many real work that is needed. There are a lot of conditioned mind, lot of problems are there in our thought patterns, ego patterns, behaviors, which first needed to be taken care of. And many people takes to spirituality to escape all of this reality, thinking we can escape all of these mental issues by taking to spirituality. But that does not help. That is one way of defining spiritual bypassing. Another is, ego. Everybody wants to exert their ego. I am something superior. So many people may take spiritual life or spiritual path only to have this, self-delusion that I am superior. I am something. I am higher. I am. But really it is not so. So it's a very good book. It was really one of the best books I have read so far in my life. In my life. Yeah.
Who was the author?
John Wellwood. John Wellwood. Toward a Psychology of Awakening. Yeah. It's a long book, but if you read it, many of the problems, questions about spiritual life will be extremely made clear. Will be solved. Yeah. All right. Then let's say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Swami, sorry to interrupt. What time is the Buddha puja on Friday?
Evening, 7:30.
Because that's my birthday too, so maybe I should come.
Oh, is it so?
Yeah, that would be fun.
So is it your birthday on 1st May?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it is this time colliding with Buddha's birthday.
Yeah, sometimes he's May 1st, so I mean 5 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is thrice blessed day, right? Buddha was born, Buddha attained Nirvana, and Buddha also had Mahanirvana on this day. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Incidentally, my guru was born on Buddha Purnima.
Wow.
So in Belur Math, when we used to celebrate Buddha Purnima, we also used to celebrate, when he was president, we used to cut a cake for him.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
All right, let's say Shanti, 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 and see you in 2 weeks. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om, peace, peace, peace.